Warning, this program features viewpoints of our host, our guest. They're their own viewpoints. These viewpoints may not represent other hosts, other guests, individuals, or their employers. So please enjoy the show. This is our first
Like an AI recording?
Hey everyone, this is James, Ghost Set Killer with Put 'em on the Glass podcast. We have a legend in the game. He's been around for a minute. And who is my guest today?
Mike Rose.
Mike Rose. You've been in the game for how long, sir?
I first started windshields back in 1977 for Ford Motor Company.
And you told me a little story. How many did you used to do in a night?
It got up to about 220 windows a night.
220 windows a night.
About one every 2 minutes.
One every 2 minutes. So, and that's an 8-hour shift? Holy shit.
It was a
10-hour
shift.
Okay, still. Okay, so 10-hour shift. That's, oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. How is that possible?
The windows were butyl set. And so urethane wasn't used back then. You had a string of butyl. One guy would string each window, and then I would come and set the window on the butyl where the little rubber stops are, and the next guy put the chrome on, and down the line the vehicle went.
Oh my goodness. That's pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. Even at the butyl of, that's still everything's fresh and everything, but still it's wow. It's just mind blowing just to think of in a 10-hour shift you did 200 windshields. 200 windshields. That's, man. And that was 365 days a year, huh?
Yes, sir, it was.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, and then from there you progressed to having your own shop?
Actually, I built Army tanks after that for 10 years. Bradley fighting vehicles.
Nice. So then you went into 200 windshields isn't badass enough. Let's go ahead and let's build tanks. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and just build some crazy ass military vehicles. I like that. That's, oh my goodness. And then did you get back into autoglass?
I got back into autoglass right around the year 2000. A friend of mine knew I installed windows back at Ford, and he said, "Hey man, I just opened an autoglass shop. You want a job?" And I wasn't really thinking how much the industry had changed from then till then, but I got into autoglass, and then I did it for almost the next 25 years.
Oh my goodness, the next 25 years, which brings us to where we are today. Oh my. You've seen the whole change of the industry from butyl to what we have now. And I bet you that was a wild ride, just seeing all the changes. And,
there was two types of autoglass. There's people who own companies in the safe lights and things of that nature. And then there were people that had sales forces that called people to see if they needed a windshield. And I worked for some people. I mean, I used to do 12 windows a day, almost 6 days a week. And they were all insurance jobs. And
wow.
back in the day, people were getting their windows changed like crazy. It's the business has changed a lot though. I don't think there's a lot of call centers out there anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I got into it in 2003, and that was a thing. The the first company I worked for, getting into auto glass as a trainee, they were open for about 6 months. And what it was is we were here in Ohio, and they had a call center in Utah. They were based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And the call center, they would cold call these people in our area, asking them if they needed windshields or they had a crack or chipped windshield. And then they would schedule us to go out to do an inspection. But we always just conveniently had the glass with us anyways. And then the insurance paperwork or whatever they needed, at that time to turn in. And, you turned most of those into replacement jobs. But it only lasted for 6 months because the lady that was running it for the people in Utah was embezzling a bunch of money from them. And so they came in and shut it down. And then that's when I started into Triumph, which became Safe Light, and then started with Richardson and then ended with Richardson. So, well, I'm currently not with Richardson. I'm with another company. So as a national trainer. But you're right, man. That is the cold calls. I remember those call centers, man. I always thought, man, this is such a shisty kind of way to go about it. Like,
I'll tell you what, the one shop I first started working for, we had 25 guys, and we were going out of the shop every day with 200 plus windows. I mean, it was a pretty big business back then, that's for sure. I see auto glass people all the time, but they seem to be more people that have a company truck instead of guys with no markings on their truck and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's changing. It's changed a huge, as far as just like you said, everyone was getting their windshield changed back in the day like crazy. Like it really was. Like it was kind of the Wild West in the early 2000s. And you're right. I remember going out 10, 12 jobs a day in your van, and you had to get them done. You just had to get them done. You had to cover 150, 200 miles, whatever it took, depending on if you were a rural area or you're in town. But, it's completely different now, and it's slowed down. The insurance work is just gobbled up. It's hard.
The vehicles have changed so much now also. I mean, now with calibrations and things of that nature, not just anybody can do a window anymore. You have to be certified. You have to be the real deal, or you might not be able to do windows unless they're pre-1980. So
well, I remember the beautiful when it was either a 1341 or a 1549, depending, you had to judge between those two windshields of which one it was on a Chevy truck, and that was
1341.
Yeah, that's how hard it was, you just had to, or when it was the classic year and it went down to the 1217s, you know what I mean? It was either it was 1341 or a 1217, depending if it was a classic or not. It was insane how crazy. Oh my God, these guys! I'm over this shit.
Back then, you didn't do the things that you should do when doing a window today. Back then, we used to slam them, and if you know what you're doing, you can get away with doing stuff like that and making it all look right. But the bottom line is, if you don't take the car apart, the job's not getting done right.
100%. Unfortunately, the early 2000s when that whole, 2020 came out, and you're right, people would be slapping them in. There is a moment as a technician that you have to talk to yourself and say, do I want to keep doing it this way, or do I want to do it the correct way and really pursue a career as a technician? But there's still a lot of people out there who are slapping dash, running round beads, wiper saluting it, not taking cow panels off. Like I'll never forget. You remember the Ford Mustangs? I can't remember. They had those stupid side moldings that came down. Maybe it was like 94, 95 era. Sure. And I'll never forget. I watched a guy. He didn't even take off anything. He left the cowl on both sides, and he cut it out from the inside, four-sided it with an express, shoved it all the way to the passenger side, picked it up and out, and then went right back in the same way, like kind of tucked it down. And I was like, dude, that is the craziest magician shit I've ever seen in my entire life. And he slept at night. He's like, it pays my, he's like, it pays $30 for this job. I can move on to the next one in 20 minutes. And I'm just like, and I knew right then, it's like, I don't want to drive anything that guy ever works on, ever.
Well, and that's another important thing. The most important thing you do when you get to a job is a pre-inspection. Uh, I would tell the customer, I'm going to slowly take the car apart, but I'm going to bring you out here as I find things that I think you should be aware of before I get started. And, like you just said, when cutting a window out from the whole inside, oh man, I used to see so much issues. And not to say that I caused issues myself, but everything that I ever did, I would treat. I would prime. I would do all the things to make sure that it didn't have a problem down the road. But that doesn't mean you were doing the job right.
100%. It doesn't mean you're doing the job right, and it doesn't. But we all cause issues. We all have. If you've been in this game any amount of time, you've caused an issue on a car. The thing is how you handle that issue is where your integrity comes in. And you're right. You prime. You correct the issue. You make sure that you slow down the oxidation that's already started when you cause that scratch, and you take the steps necessary to make sure that it's as safe as it possibly could be. That's where a technician is we're going to cause issues. We're working with glass for one. We're working with metal vehicles, with soft paint, with metal tools. Things are going to happen no matter how careful you are, how much protection. Because I'm a huge vehicle protection guy. I tape off. Yeah, I tape off. I put drop cloth. I'm a huge vehicle protection guy. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen from time to time. Every now and then, some crazy things that planets align. Next thing you know, it's like, well, I got a scratch to deal with, or something along those lines. The new tolling's making it easier to, if used correctly, the tools are so much better to make the job less damage. But if they're used incorrectly, oh man, it's a whole new level of damage that we had never seen before.
Right.
You could mess up a dash.
From a wired jack and a dash to you name it. Don't get me wrong. You could always, with a cold knife and a long knife, you could always scratch something, but you could always fix it. But if you were very careful in the job that you were doing and you did a great pre-inspection and everybody knows what's going on, unless the window was slammed to where it was compressed so hard, because the guy didn't take anything off. And that's usually what they do. When you didn't take a cowl off or some of the other parts, you were slamming windows. And those were the ones where, it became a little bit of an issue to remove. But here's the other thing I did that I never really saw anybody else do. I took on a helper in 2003, and I started doing 2-man sets. And if you shoot a nice V-bead with a 2-man set, you're not going to have any problems. And it worked out so good for me, and I got so much more work. And because I had a helper, they would do the paperwork on the way to the next job, call the customer, catch the window, do this, do that. And next thing I know, I was doing really good jobs and doing them correctly in 30 minutes. And because I invented a tool that helped me cut out windows even easier and faster with less issues, oh man, it was a lot of fun. I really loved the auto glass industry. It was really good to me. I didn't have a good business partner, but other than that, it's been really a great adventure.
Yeah, I'm hugely passionate about this, but let's break down what you said there. So you take on a helper, and once you become in sync with that person, 30 minutes doing the job correctly, 45 minutes with a calibration doing the job correctly is achievable at all levels. It really is. Once the two of you really mesh well, and one of you's doing this while doing this, the paperwork, everything's set where it needs to be. It's it's so much more efficient, and you're going to get so many more jobs done. And it's safer for the customer. It's just, honestly, I agree with you. 2-person set is, there's
It's
none
awesome.
better. Even with the greatest setting tools out there, because I use them. I love the Pro Set. I love, that setting tool that Panther Pro has, that fit. I love the fit. The fit's cool. It took me a little bit of time to get used to that fit, but that Panther Pro fit is a beautiful tool. Everything from the Rolodeck to the Pro 6 to the Little Buddy. I have all the setting tools, and I've used them and loved them all in different vehicles, different
Sure.
situations. But a 2-person set is far superior, 100%. I agree with you. 2 people that know what they're doing. Now you get a person that that just catches it and slams it down in the wrong spot. That's a different
Right.
story. But 2 people who have a working knowledge of how to handle glass and what to do, hover for a second, you good, yep, straight into the hole, little movement, little to no movement, perfectly placed, perfectly decked, everything goes back together. It's beautiful. It's no different than an assembly line being set by a robot. I mean, it just truly is that good.
Exactly. That's right. And my partner was my wife. We've been together 40 years, and we worked together for right around 12 years. And I've had some other workers, but my wife was my best partner.
Mhm.
I mean, when she set a window, I got goosebumps right now.
Yeah. When you have that one person, like I have a person that I worked with, James Thompson, Big James Thompson at Richardson, and we knew each other. We've been friends for 20 years, we knew each other. And so setting, I know what you're talking about. You didn't have to question. You knew you were in the right position. There was little like communication. You both were on the same page. It's like we pull up to a job.
page.
Yeah, pull up to a job. He was doing the paperwork, the pre-inspection. I was starting to protect the vehicle, got the vehicle protected. He started taking apart the car. I took out the glass. Then I started cutting out. He prepped the glass, and then just boom, 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 boom. And like, it was just perfect, and I know what you mean. It's awesome that your wife was the one that you had that relationship with. But we had such a low warranty, like less than a point of a percent warranty rating, because everything was just perfectly back together at the factory. Everybody has that Karen customer, that you just, no matter how well you did the job, they might complain about something, but it was never anything crazy. So you touched on something there that I'm not going to gloss over. You invented a tool, and this tool is used by a lot of us now. So what tool is that you invented, Mr. Rose?
The Total Control Knife. Equalizer is the seller of it now. And the first gentleman I ever worked for, and I won't go into any names or stuff.
Yes. Yep.
Him and his father became my business partners. And I still don't know to this day why they did what they did, but I never saw a penny from it. And the guy's a multi-millionaire, and I couldn't have enough money to go after him if I wanted to. And
Yeah.
everybody knows I'm the guy that did it. He was a master machinist. And I showed you a picture of the very first one I made out of conduit. And I sold those for a long time. And then my buddy found out what I was doing. And then he showed his dad, and then his dad had his own ideas. And I liked them. And I said, yeah, that looks freaking awesome. And then I actually helped him make the tool for almost a year and a half. And then one day I asked him for some money. He wrote me a little check, and I thought he was just helping me out. I signed something for it, never read it, but I guess I signed my rights away when he gave me that $1,800 check. and the tool has did a little bit better than $1,800.
A little bit better, because I believe that there's definitely different versions out there. There are the knockoffs, there are the different versions of it. We all have one at some point in our toolbox. If you don't think so, the handled cold knife that you're using without the cable, the actual handle one that you can push, that you can pull, that you can manipulate around corners easily. That's the tool we're talking about. And so that tool just bought you years onto your career, but also shaved time off of your replacements, right? Because
Yes,
you were
sir.
able to get them out quicker.
It was just incredible. When I used to use a cable knife, uh, because of the cable and pulling it with one hand, it always, just pulled. I never felt comfortable. So I used to take the cable off and just use the knife just by itself. And then one day I thought, man, wouldn't it be great if I had like a little horseshoe? And I literally did it with a horseshoe the first time. I
Oh,
wired a blade onto a horseshoe and I tried it and I went, get out of here. And next thing I know, I was in my little shop for the next couple weeks that turned into months making tools for everybody. And I sold them to everybody. Migrant and PPG and Pilkington, they would get pissed off at me because they wanted to
yeah.
sell all the tools, that they got. And I get it.
Hmm.
I understood. But so I never tried to do it while I was picking up glass, but everybody knew who I was back then anyway. So,
Yeah, everybody was like, "We need one of those," and I had it, I used it, and I was never super great with a cold knife. I was probably I was artistic to a point. I was about an 85-90% artist with the cold knife. My friend that I was just telling you about, Big James Thompson, he's a whiz. He can save anything with a cold knife, like stuff that just blows your mind. And like, I'm like, I ain't even getting a cold knife near that thing, bro. Ain't even touching it. That thing's going to blow up or I'm going to scratch it all up and naked edge. And, but once I did get the total control knife, it was a lot easier. I had more control and I was more comfortable cold knifing out like naked edge back glasses.
sure.
You know, the tempered naked edge back glasses. I was comfortable, cutting them out with that. But for me, my big game was the new wire game. I bought in. I'm all about it. I love it. I'm very proficient with the tool. I love using the tool. But Big James can do pretty much the same thing with the cold knife that I can do with the wire tool,
Well,
as far as less damage. But I would scratch every now and then with a cold knife. And
and I would also, and a lot of times it used to really disturb the hell out of me. And then what I started doing was I would buy blades, cold blades, and I would alter them with a grinder and take edges off and the little things that just if you just take off, just a, a 32nd, a 64th, it can make a big difference in cutting out a window and whether you scratch it or not. But not everybody, you got to be in the game for a minute to see your mistakes and find out, well, how do I not do that again and things of that nature. But when I saw the wire, and I have a couple friends, Jeff Wacker,
mhm.
he's a guy that I met when I first got into auto glass, and he was just a kid, man. And man, this guy has taken it to the next level. It's so awesome. I just saw him the other day actually. Him and another friend, Carlos Maltos, came by to see me, and man, these guys, they're certified. They do their calibrations. Auto glass today is the guys are 10 times better than they used to be. I mean, hey, how you doing, sir? We used to show up for work and do our jobs, but the people today have the knowledge and the tools, and just like the wire. I mean, when the wire first came out, I was one of those guys, blah 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 blah. Well, guess what? Well, guess what though? Sometimes a wire is the only way to get the window out without damaging the car. So why
Mhm.
why wouldn't you learn the wire? But
Yep.
it was just shortly after that I blew a shoulder out, and I haven't done auto glass in almost 7 years.
Damn. Well, I tell you, the game has evolved, and the people that you are talking about, Whacker, Drift Chris, Carlos,
Yeah, Chris.
they have taken and they presented the game to all of us in a different light to where, you know, it's changed it. And anybody who says that they didn't change the game, they're sitting back and they're just too involved in their egos, because they did change the game. They made it uncool to stuff a window, because prior to them, people were stuffing windows everywhere, and it was the coolest.
Thank you, ma'am. Yep.
You were the coolest guy because you were fast, and you were fast because you were slamming everything. And they actually flipped that on its head and turned the industry around.
It's
and
awesome.
has made it. It is now the industry is evolving because of these leaders who, you know, they take safety seriously. They take the way the job's done seriously, and it isn't just a paycheck for us anymore. We're technicians, we're professionals, and it's not just a job. And for you, it's never been a job. It's been a passion. So you're a professional as well. But for some people, it's 8 to 5, and that's it.
Right,
that's all they care. They don't want to hear any more about it. I'm just going to work. I do my job. I go home, and you know, for people like us, Mike, it's not like that. We're professionals. We live, we breathe this shit. And 7 years, and you're still talking. Yeah. And 7 years later, you're now talking to me about Autoglass. You know, you have people still visiting you and talking to you. So you've made a huge impact on the industry, that for sure.
And you know, man, I loved every minute of it. You mentioned Jorge.
Yeah, good friend.
Dude, when I met the guy, from where he was when I met him to where he is today, oh my God, so proud. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He took the bull by the horns, and just, I got goosebumps again right now. I get the chills, man, when the folks that I know in life do well. It's a true blessing.
Yeah, well, Jorge is the current world champion, the current Autoglass technician world champion, and that dude is. I love it. Like, so I met him at the Equalizer booth in 19, and him and I developed a friendship, and we've been friends ever since. And I actually just went out and visited him in San Diego. And shout out to Jorge. Thank you. Jorge's the one that got us in contact with each other. So thank you, Jorge. Jorge is one of those people that. He will always be one of my Autoglass heroes. Like, I have certain heroes in the industry that I look up to still to this day. And Jorge's definitely one of them. You know, like Jason Horn, Matt Kerbo, Jorge Sandoval, Alfredo Calva, you know, Drift Chris. These are people that are heroes to me, and they will always be heroes to me. And Jorge's he's on such a level that, I'm so proud of him. Like, the way he's succeeding.
I can't even tell you how excited I am for that man, and how he did everything. I mean, I don't know, man. They don't make guys like that every day. I'll tell you right now.
They do not make guys like Jorge Sandoval every day. They do not. They don't make guys like Mike Rose. They don't make guys like Alfredo Calva. They don't make guys like, you know, Chris, and like Exactly. You're in a group of your own, because you're so passionate. You care about the industry, but you're just a good person. And Jorge is one of those people that is he's just a great person. And there's no no matter what industry he would be in, he would be a leader in that industry. We are just 100% blessed that you guys are involved in our industry.
That's good stuff, man. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And the game's going to keep changing, and we're going to have to move with it.
Right.
You know, we don't want to be left behind, so we have to evolve and change. And I'm part of that change, man. I can't get enough of it. I want to make sure I'm on the edge. I got to keep it. I'm reading about shit. You know what I mean? So, and talking to people like you and staying connected.
How old?
I'm 46. I'm 46.
Man. You got 20 years to go to get where I'm at.
Oh, yeah. I got a minute.
Good
you know,
for you,
so
man. God darn it, good for
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get myself to where everybody else is, and one day I'll hit that peak, and it'll be great. It'll be great. I'm loving it. The industry, we need people like, you know, like all the people we were talking about. We need those people, and we need to like, you know, keep us together and keep the information flowing between everybody. So I'm so glad you decided to do the show. I'm so glad that we talked. You showed me some of your prototypes. Those were so dope. Those were tight. I'm like, man, where it came from. It just like, whoosh,
Yeah.
it just came from the ether, man. You pulled it out of the air and made it, you know? Yeah, it is crazy. But you have no plans on installing or continuing with the auto glass trade? Are you completely officially retired?
Right now, we got a little business called We Care Chip Repair, and I do chip repairs, and not a lot. People see my number on the side of my car, and they give us a call, and we go fix a chip. And I'm not going to do any advertising about it, but word of mouth and stuff like that, and we do some chips here and there. But I'm hoping to be a helper for somebody on a construction site. I can't really use my right arm like I used to because of the injury in auto glass, and I've had to learn to do things different. But I am a good cleaner upper and a pickup guy, and so I do real good on this guy's construction site. And I hope that he has me back here in the next week or so.
Nice. Well, We Care Chip Repair. Check them out if you are in there in Mike's area. I hope he does call you back. Do you have any plans on coming to Auto Glass Week in Reno? Meeting up with us?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir. You sure you want to change your mind about that? You're not too far from Reno, right?
Not too far, but I've got so many things going right now. With my family, I told you what had happened, and just still dealing with the things that you have to deal with after people leave. So unfortunately, and I feel for you there. So we want to keep you in our thoughts and everything. Everybody, keep Mike in your thoughts. He's dealing with some family stuff right now that is what it is with that. I feel for you, brother. So you're not coming to Auto Glass Week, but you're going to stay involved in Auto Glass with the We Care Chip Repair. Sure, man.
And you're going to keep talking to all of us glass rats, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're going to keep in touch with all of us glass rats.
I love it, man. Good stuff. I like what you're doing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I really do, because this is such a fun thing for me and a passion project, and it came out of just the huge passion for the industry. So I thank you for saying that. That's definitely cool.
If you're ever in Arizona, man, in the Phoenix area, stop by. You're more than welcome here.
Thanks. Yeah, I plan on getting out there. I've got quite a few friends in that area, so I plan on getting out there to visit for sure. I want to go to I don't know how far Phoenix is from Zion National Park. I want to go to Zion. I want to do some outdoor stuff and then hit the canyon. Yeah, my wife and I are huge hikers. So nice. We want to do Zion, and then obviously I want to go to Havasu, and then the canyon, and all the big things you guys have out in Arizona. And I'm a Tool fan, so I want to go to somewhere there. Maynard James Keenan from Tool, the band Tool, owns a winery out in the Phoenix area somewhere. Wow. Yeah, so I want to go visit that and his restaurant, and just as a fan, as a fanboy. So
have a little fun.
Yeah, I appreciate the offer, and if I'm in that area, trust me, I'm looking you up. I'm going to look you up, and we'll definitely go have dinner or something. And well, any words of wisdom for our young people getting into this, because we need to bring the youngins in. So, any words of wisdom?
The words of wisdom are always do a pre-inspection of the vehicle before you start taking it apart. See if anything's missing. See if anything's warped, scratched, cracked. I mean, check the upholstery before you get in. Use seat covers. Protect yourself. That's all.
Yes. Well, so everyone, we're going to end the show right now. I'm going to hit stop, Mike, but don't get off the line yet, because I got to let everything upload before you get off. So everybody, thank you for listening. Take those words of advice. Do your pre-inspections. Make sure you're checking the vehicle over, CYA, but also it's just a customer service fact. So if you're doing that and then you're doing the job correctly, then you're going to be in there. Mike, thank you so much for everything you've done for our industry. Thank you.
I appreciate you very much.
You made an impact.
I appreciate you. Thank you.